What's going on, everybody? Man, welcome back. Episode 8, I believe, of the Jex podcast. I always never remember. What is it? Are we 8? We at number 8? Yeah. Episode 8 of the Jex podcast. I'm your host, as always, Michael Jex. I got my brother to the left next to me, as always, Gary Cowan.
What's up, y'all? What's up?
And today we got a special guest, man, because it wouldn't be right to, bring in the new year with some fresh financial literacy, fresh financial advice from somebody who I personally look up to from a financial education standpoint. Somebody who I've called multiple times, like, man, I think I'm overspending on some things, man. I need some guidance, bro. But no, man, we gonna get into it. This brother right here has a huge following on social media, man. Super intelligent when it comes to the financial industry, and we gonna get right into it. We gonna know who he is, how he can help everybody out listening in today, giving us a great outlook on how we should be thinking financially for 2021 and a bunch more, man. We're just gonna really dive into it. But my man Rashad Bilal.
Yeah.
What's up, my brother? What's funny? Yes, sir. I always say your last name to myself. Okay. But I always wonder, am I saying it right? Bilal is
Bilal.
Bilal.
It's like the R&B singer.
Oh, yeah. What's good, bro? How's everything, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for coming by. I know you out here in Miami, vibing. You got your boy here. It was his birthday the other day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Happy birthday to your boy Nasir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Man, so I wanna just start it off by asking you, about you. Let's dive into the story. Where did this come about? Because I know it's probably like well over a year ago. I connected with you on social media, on Instagram, and I was on your page. I'm like, damn, everything this brother posting is like facts. It's like real talk he's posting about just financial stuff. But where did that start? Bring us back. Like, where did that desire to learn more about the financial world and
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always was interested in business my whole life. Mm-hmm. My dad was always an entrepreneur, and that's something that he always really kind of like put in my brain early on. Was like never rely on anybody else to provide for you. Always provide for yourself, no matter what like different type of businesses. But entrepreneurship was something that was like real big. Mm-hmm. And I always just loved stocks and investing like my whole life. Like,
like even from childhood.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So I was just like, watching movies like Wall Street, like Barbarians at the Gate, all that when I was like 10, 12 years old. So I always knew I wanted to be in business in some form or fashion. I just wasn't sure exactly like what. Mm-hmm. And then coming out of college, I thought I was going to play ball, and I went overseas, and that didn't work out. So coming back, I knew like I didn't want to get a regular job. And even if I did, it would be I had a communications degree, so it's like from a state college. That's
right. Get
in line, get a job where you can. So it's like, all right, how can I make this work? So I started working as a financial advisor with an insurance company. Got my securities license, my life insurance license, and it's a commission job. So they pretty much hire anybody because like 93% of the people is not going to make it.
Right.
But for me, it's like 24 years old. I don't have any responsibilities. I'll give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And luckily for me, it worked out, and I was able to survive. I'm actually still licensed as a financial advisor now, even though that's kind of taking up less of my time because of what I do that. So just being in that and then just working in that type of field, seeing, the lack of financial literacy that
culture.
Especially our culture has compared to other people, I really felt like there's a need to actually share some information and give people some information because there's so much that people didn't know. Even myself, I was learning so much stuff. And then as far as like the financial literacy part, my partner Troy, we childhood friends. We grew up together, and he was a teacher. A public school teacher, and he asked me to come into his classroom and teach a financial literacy class. That turned into like a 6-week summer program that we was running, and so it was like every week I was like actually teaching financial literacy, and he helped me learn how to teach. It's not as easy as it looks being a teacher. He helped me like how to take breaks, get kids' attention, break them up to groups. There's a whole method behind teaching. And I helped him learn about business and financial literacy. So we kind of merged those two together to really make financial literacy. We was doing that. And that evolved into, a girl from my neighborhood that I grew up with, Valencia, shout out to Val. She was real big. She still is. She's a teacher in Baltimore.
Okay.
And she became real big on Instagram by like taping herself in her classroom. And she would do like different lessons, but it was a whole unique way of actually, looking at a teacher. She wasn't your average teacher.
I think I know who that is actually. She's cool with Nikki and Emmaus.
Okay.
We'll show you, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, she does multi-level marketing too, right?
She's
Nikki?
in my company. Yeah, she's in our team.
Yeah. That's one of her good friends. So
small world.
Yeah.
Small world. That's crazy.
So like seeing that, and this is somebody I knew, like I know her personally. So like to see her blow up, and Rihanna started following her, Shade Room was posting her, and I'm like, if she can do it, I know I can do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not like no disrespect to her, but I just know her personally. So I'm like,
you inspired.
Yeah. So I'm like, that was my goal originally, to be like a financial guy on Instagram.
Gotcha.
I wanted to build my own personal brand. So
what time? So how long? Like what time? When is this?
That was like 2016.
Okay.
Like 2016, like around 4 years ago. And so me and my man Mike, shout out to Mike. He's a third partner, Earn Your Leisure, the silent partner, and he's like a real technical guy. So we put together a marketing plan to like get my followers up, and like, you know, started doing different videos and posting it, and that grew. And people, you know, really started to like dig what I was saying, because I was approaching it from a different standpoint. I was talking about like the backstories of sports and entertainment, and like making financial literacy like more cooler, like, you know.
Yeah, right. You did do that.
I appreciate that.
You definitely did.
And then so from there, people kept asking like, "Yo, you got a podcast? You got a podcast?" This is like right when podcasts started to boom, and I'm like, "Nah." I'm like, that's probably a good idea. So I asked Troy, and I talk to him every day, like, "You want to be my partner?" And he came up with the name Earn Your Leisure, and we just started it. We didn't really have any expectations for it to take off. Honestly, it was just really it was.
Yeah, I saw you post about, it was 2 years ago?
Yeah,
January,
2 years ago. 2 years ago, that's when we first started. And I had like, you know, wrote out like the vision board for it, like the notes, like what we need to do to get it started. And it's one of those things, bro. We just started it, and it just like took off like wildfire. And that's where we at now.
That's incredible, man. That's incredible. So I know there's like so many different parts that you just went over too. Like, you up to what? Probably, if you guys don't know, his podcast is Earn Your Leisure podcast. You can find it on all the streaming services, YouTube. I check it out all the time. What's something that we could ask, like, because one thing I'm thinking about right now is so many people that follow you now, because your following is huge. I know. Hey, it's funny because like I always hear when someone says a story of, man, I was inspired by X, Y, and Z, and now like, yo, his following is now huge. You know what I mean? He's got a huge following on his podcast and things of that nature. What do you think, you know, the mindset for people should be? First of all, like, I know when they listen to your information that you give out on a regular basis, probably the one thing they may want to know for themselves, because the majority of the people who may be listening to you may just have like, you know, a 9 to 5, right? But they hear so much information from you as far as like maybe investing or just different ways to think about money. Someone right now, if they have a 9 to 5, they got a regular day job. No disrespect to it, but just, you know, what they earning on a regular, but they want to get out of that. What's a step, you know, someone could take, you say, from an investment standpoint, or something they should do to make extra money to then go invest? What's your take on that individual that's listening right now?
Yeah, I think the first is you gotta learn to save. Like I always say, like, you shouldn't invest until you have savings. I recommend like you gotta have at least 6 months of savings. Like your monthly expenses, at the minimum 3, recommended 6 months, maximum probably 12 months before you start to learn to pay off debt too. Credit card debt really holds you back. So it's really no magical wand, unfortunately, but it's like a couple of things that you can actually do if you don't have enough money at the end of the month. Is A, cut back expenses. B, find a way to make more money. C is the optimal solution, where you cut back on expenses and find a way to make more money. And then it's like, all right, now you have more money, but what are you doing with it? So, you know, to build those foundational steps to put money in savings. Learn to save monthly on discipline. Learn to pay off credit. Learn to not overexpend. Learn to, you know, have discipline. You know, it's difficult for a lot of people. It's like you want to experience everything right now, but it might not be time for you to experience everything right now.
You speaking truth right now, because a lot of people, especially, you know, I think, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, like with our culture, I think that's probably one of like, you know, the damning things, right? Because in our culture, right, you know, we all from New York. He's, you know, Brooklyn, Bronx. You know, we grow up almost with a sense of, yo, we don't know if we're gonna make it to a certain age. I know that's how I felt. Like growing up, I always say this. Like for me, like time is the most valuable thing for me because growing up, it was weird. It was like it was so wild. Growing up, it was like a question whether or not we were gonna make it. And I wonder if like some of those things are ingrained in us from our either upbringing, our environment, right, or anything prior to maybe passed down from our parents, from our paradigms, things of that nature. But would you say that might be one of the the tough things, because you just said something that's important. Okay, it's not necessarily the thing to maybe want to experience something right now, but if you hold on, do it right, you can experience it later on. Most people don't have that discipline to want to chill right now, right? Is that something that you think people have to really focus in on? Because I think the question they'll ask is, I want to be able to invest more. I want to make more money. That's a subconscious thing. I want to do whatever I can to make more money so I could go buy the Louis and Gucci right now. I need that right now, right?
Yeah. No, it's a process. Mm-hmm. It's a process, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I feel like there's levels, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? If you got 100,000, somebody that's worth millions looking at you like you don't got no money. You got a couple million, somebody that's worth 20 million looking at you like you got no money. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And there's always, you got billionaires. Now you probably gonna have a trillionaire soon with Elon Musk and these guys. So you can't run anybody else's race.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You can't measure your success based off anybody else's success because you don't know what took them to get to that point, and you don't know, you know what I'm saying, as far as your time frame might be different. So like even for like me personally, I stay in my lane, stay in my financial lane. I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt myself, trying to impress somebody.
Right.
Because it's like, when you're hurt, they're not going to be there to, you know what I'm saying?
Pat you on the back.
They're not going to heal your hurt.
Ain't nobody hugging you.
Yeah, but I think that's a big thing, man. And, it's a lot of temptations that we have, especially in our culture, you know what I'm saying, like with the music and just seeing different things. It just makes you want to just do it right now. Like you want to have those Balenciaga sneakers, you want to fly on a private plane, you want to, you know what I'm saying, because you're seeing it, and that's what we are trained to think success is.
Right.
And it's like if you can't do that, then you feel like you haven't made it. But it's like, you can do that, but you're sacrificing real long-term wealth every time you make that decision to just spend money frivolously.
Yes, sir.
So I'm a big proponent of the balance. I have no problem with people spending money, you know what I mean, but I just think that it should be done responsibly. And I feel like a lot of times, even just going back to when we young, work a summer job, you get paid $200, you're gonna spend $190 on sneakers,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And then you gotta wait 2 weeks when you get broke, and you gotta wait another 2 weeks. And you're gonna spend another $200 on
peanut butter and jelly for the next 2 weeks.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we gotta establish that in our kids early on, and like I said, we gotta fight temptation because it does play a part, man. The culture, music, all those influences are undeniable, and we're seeing it. And even if we don't fully understand it, it's being ingrained in our subconscious, and we measure our self-worth by material items a lot of times.
Yes, sir.
So if I look at it now, because it's funny, when I spoke to you, I remember I spoke to Mike and I was thinking about some of the foundation I need to lay before investment becomes my focus. And he told me he had a conversation with you. And he told me some of the things. I'm like, thank God I did a lot of that stuff already. But for some of those people, if I put myself back in the shoes of, okay, I got that foundation laid, I don't really know how to build a business, don't know how to look at opportunity or even what to invest. What is some ways, or what do you think a person who's kind of like trying to figure things out, what are some of those steps that should be taken that has that foundation laid now?
I think the first steps is education.
Okay.
And, to educate yourself. So I would educate myself on the two biggest, I feel like 99% of millionaires in America have some form of stock or real estate, or most of the time a combination of both. So that's the proven pathway to success, right?
Okay.
So we know that stocks and real estate is like the two big pillars as far as investing. So I would educate myself and start, especially with stocks, you can start small. You know what I'm saying? Like you can actually put $100 a month into an investment account. You can put $50 a month into an investment account. There's things called ETFs, which is like a basket of stocks. It's like an all-star team. So you might not have enough money for just one Amazon share, but you can invest in a QQQ. It's an ETF. And in QQQ it has Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, like all of the top tech companies. I think right now the price is like $312. So for $312, you can have all of those companies. So you can put $300 every single month into something like that, like right. And so it's like that's a great way to start investing, especially in the stock market. Real estate, you know, you're not going to start with that little, but you know, save up. You'd be surprised, especially if you don't live in a state like California, New York. You might be able to get a property for $100,000, and then you know you got what's called the FHA loan, where you can put 3% down, 3.5% down. So you know, with closing costs and all that, you might be able to get a property for $8,000. You know what I'm saying? Get a house, $8,000. You're renting out. You might get, you know, $500, you know, $1,000 a month rent. You know, a couple years that property might be worth $150,000 now. You know, refinance, take $50,000 out. So now you got started with $8,000. Now you got $50,000. Now you can buy 2 houses.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It's like Monopoly, and just you know, just keep building it like that. So I would say just, you know, start small, but the first thing is to educate yourself. And I feel like now there's no better way, there's no better time to really receive education, because you got so many free resources.
Right.
Whether it's Google, YouTube, podcast, Instagram. There's so
Well,
much
to ask
free
you, I know
resources.
you. How did you learn? I mean, I know you said you went to school for financial.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't go to school for finance. I went to school for communications. I learned the finance part after. So I was like studying, because like, you know, to be an advisor, you got to like pass certain tests. So, you know, I was pretty much like I went to college. After I went to college, just stayed up like in my room for like a couple months, reading books, taking the test online until I actually was preparing to pass the test. But I feel like what I learned in the last 2 years is way more than I learned my whole entire life. You know what I'm saying? Just from our podcast and just being around people, and I'm just soaking up so much information. So I learned so much from interviewing people, from having conversations. So I'm sure that, you know, other people have learned as well. And that's just free information. You know, like you can take courses, you can buy books, you can invest in your money into education as well. But I mean, there's no excuse why you can't educate yourself now. Right. But the key is just
so much free game out there.
Drill down. You don't want to spread yourself too thin, and you know, now you're going in all different directions. So it's like, I focus on stocks, focus on real estate, then focus on something else. You know, it's hard to do like 20 different things at one time.
That's real. I know some people.
I'm glad you touched on that, right?
Yeah, because and it was good that you touched some of the first thing you touched on is like, you know, that patience and having that discipline, right? So if we just kind of recap a little bit, right? First, it was save, gotta have some savings, get down to debt, right? Get down to debt, create some savings, a cushion for at least 3 months of minimum monthly expenses. You'd like to have a year. Once you have that down, now you go towards looking at stocks. Real estate. Start with one, then go ahead and, you know, pursue some others when you get understanding one of them more so down packed in a sense, right? Then you continue to move on. Okay, so that's good. I mean, like, you know, I think people right there. That's a lot.
That's a good game plan. That's a good roadmap.
Yeah, because I think that's a lot of things too. I think that's something with our culture too, where I think they just don't know and they're confused. You know what I mean? And because of the lack of the education, you know, they may think that, you know, purchasing some real estate is a really giant feat to do, right? They might have just heard, you know, you being able to purchase put down by $8,000 on a, you know, property. Maybe that they never even thought that was possible. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's great. That's good, man.
It's good information, because I felt like one of the biggest problems was actually earning money. And us being in network marketing, it took us, 4 years. I earned some big money, but I still didn't have a lot of the education behind it. So I blew a lot of it. It's like I had watches, cars, and all that kind of stuff. So one of the problems ain't just earning it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's now that I'll kind of like, all right, well, I know what messing it up look like. How do we kind of take this and turn it into more? And I was kind of like just self-learning, trying to look, you know, free game. There's a lot of free game out there. But I think now having a roadmap, definitely, if it's not making some people be aware now on what to do, is kind of confirmation to say, all right, well, I am making the right steps. Because I've seen people get pulled in different ways and then not work out, and then so you get afraid to try. Like, damn, I want to try that, but I don't want to get pulled out of my lane. So now, I guess my next question following that would be, is it anything different in terms of finances, what you teach, compared to entrepreneurs and people coming from a 9-to-5, or you feel like this is just financial gain?
Yeah,
the risk, is there any different risks?
I think that it could be applied to, entrepreneurs or people, with 9-to-5 jobs, as far as like, especially with the stocks and real estate and stuff like that. It doesn't matter what you do.
Right.
You could be a high paying, you could be like an NBA player who's an employee, but they make millions of dollars, right? And then we know like there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are struggling financially. So it doesn't really matter which side of the spectrum you're on. The information is still the information and it's still relevant. Of course, the more money that you have to work with, you're going to have more opportunities. But like you said, I mean, you can have a lot of money and just make a bunch of poor decisions. You can have a little bit of money and then, make a couple really key decisions and make that little bit of money
That's a
turn
big
to
difference.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
That's a big difference.
Exactly. What's your thoughts on some of the stuff going on right now? So I think, if I'm not mistaken, like I think I heard somebody saying that they already got some of their stimulus checks coming in the second round. What's your thoughts on that? Like how people should be, utilizing the few dollars that they got coming in right now?
Hopefully everybody utilizes it wisely. It's definitely something that I think is needed. A lot of people struggling. This year was a tough year for a lot of people.
Right.
So, I would definitely say like, hey, if you don't have savings, this might be a time to put some money into savings. If you struggling to pay off your credit cards, put some of that money into your credit cards. And then, of course, invest if you can invest it.
Sure.
Don't just waste the money foolishly. And just buy things that's just, materialistic.
Right.
That would be my advice. You know what I mean? If you don't, because it's like this is money that you're not really counting on. You didn't really know if it was going to come to fruition or not.
Right.
So it's like a bonus at your job, right? So it's like, all right, you're living already. So of course, if you need this to pay your bills, then you definitely got to use that. But if you don't need it to pay bills, or you don't need it to, emergency to live right now in this moment, I would say either save it, pay off credit card, or start to invest.
Right.
Don't just say I don't expect this. I didn't expect this money, so I'm just going.
It's free money.
Buy
Right.
Coke.
That's what we say. Free money. I gotta go buy them
right.
them Kobe Grinches.
Right.
How about the SBA? There's a lot of that. That's been thrown around a lot in terms of people going out there and getting it. Do you feel like there's going to be some kind of repercussion on how people use it? I just don't even know what to think about it. Everybody's getting it. I don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, the SBA, it's something that I think. I mean, we took SBA money. We didn't really need it, but we seen how much was given out. So we're like, might as well. It's a interest-free loan for the first 12 months. I think it's like 3% after for like 30 years. So we probably just paid off in full, but it's great for business owners because, like us, especially like brick and mortar business owners, they struggle.
Right.
So if you need to make payroll, you need to make improvements. Even if you don't need, like if you just want to just make improvements for whatever, like you got a podcast, you need to make buy cameras, whatever. It's an interest-free loan for 12 months, so that's not bad. It's always good when you can leverage other people's money. You just gotta be responsible, like all things. Like you don't want to take it and just buy a Lamborghini with it.
Right.
Don't take it to get your body done, man.
Yeah. And
Don't get no new teeth in Colombia with that money.
Facts. And be prepared to pay it back because you never know. It's the government, so you got to be prepared to, at some point it's going to start collecting. Like I said, after a year. But just be prepared. Keep good records.
Right.
Shout out to our accountant, Ms. Business. She made sure that everything that we spend, we have bookkeeping. So it's we always keep track of all the money that's being spent, and everything is legit business expenses. We're not just spending money just on just nonsense. So I think it's great. I think it was good. If you were able to get it, take advantage of it, use it wisely, and just be prepared to just pay it back over.
Be prepared to pay it back.
Right. This is not a lottery. Like you didn't hit the lotto with that, right? Be prepared to pay it back. Be prepared to utilize it in a productive manner so that when it's time to pay it back, you actually did something smart with it so that, it's working for you.
Turned into more, yeah.
Right. Right. Cryptos, man. What's your thought? Because the crypto.
I was just checking, man.
Checking your Coinbase. Ooh. What's your take on that right now, man?
Crypto's going crazy right now, man. Bitcoin, I think it's like at 28,000, something like that. So.
Yeah. They hit 28,000 right a couple days ago.
Yeah, I don't think it's no stopping Bitcoin.
Why not? Why don't you think anything's stopping Bitcoin?
I just feel like it's very resilient. Like I was invested in crypto like years ago. Like I started investing in crypto like 2017. That was like the first time it really made like national, news when it really started to spike up.
Right, when it hit 19, I think. Right, 19,000. Right.
So I got in at like 6,000. But I just saw it crash and I saw so much pressure put on it from governments, from banking institutions, from everybody. Like it was just hit with everything. You know what I'm saying? It was like just hit with everything, and it survived it. You know, so for something like that to happen, and for it to survive, that lets me know that it's not a fad. And to see so much institutional money now getting put into it, lets me know like, all right, you know, these people aren't stupid. If
they here to stay.
Yeah, so I believe in Bitcoin. I think that it's definitely here to stay. A lot of the altcoins I'm not so sure about.
Right. Right.
You know, I was a big fan of Ripple, and then they got hit with a lawsuit, SEC lawsuit, saying. And they just fell apart, like 60% drop in like 2 days.
Yep.
We gotta see how that plays out. So, I mean, that's probably my biggest regret, was just not putting all my money in Bitcoin. I had a lot of these altcoins, and a lot of these altcoins that I had, they're not even worth anything anymore.
Right.
But if I would have just put all my money in Bitcoin, I definitely would have been up more than
right.
where I am now. But I can definitely say I have confidence in Bitcoin, for sure. I don't really have confidence in too many other those coins, but I think cryptocurrency is definitely here to stay. And I think Bitcoin definitely here to stay for sure.
I think I believe you. I think so too. And I remember I went to a Bob Proctor event in Toronto 2 years ago, and it was like a pretty, you know, like kind of private event, and a lot of like major business people were there, and it was a 5-day event, and I remember having a conversation with this one gentleman. Cool dude. We actually still chop it up every now and then today, but his family owns some oil wells in Texas, so he's good. And I remember him saying, "Hey man, do yourself a favor, go buy some Bitcoin." At the time, right? This was 2018. It made the dip. Was it it was 2018. So it made the dip. The coins were around $6,000 around that time. And I remember he was like, yo, go buy some now. He goes, it takes around $5,000 to mine one Bitcoin. So it ain't going to really go too much lower if it does, which it did for a little bit. But he goes, give it about 10 years. He said, just buy it, sit on it. Who cares about what's going on up and down with the, you know, price of it or whatever. Give it about 10 years. He said, I'm not saying this. He goes, he believes that we'll see Bitcoin hit $1 million. I don't know how true that is, but, you know, seeing how it's going up, you know what I mean? As time is going on, I've been reading some stuff, even that they believe before 2021, it might hit 50,000, you know? So we just never know, but yeah, it's true, man. Do you think people, so is that, do you view Bitcoin as an investment, or do you view Bitcoin as like, an actual currency for what it is? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you understand the question I'm asking.
That's a good question. And I think that's one of the reasons, that's one of the problems with big cryptocurrency, is a little misleading.
Yes.
It's not really a currency for a variety of different reasons. A currency has to be stable. You can't, like, if this bottle of water costs $1 today, I come back tomorrow and it costs $5. It doesn't work like that. Like, so Bitcoin is more of an investment. All those cryptocurrencies are investments where they go up and down.
Yep.
Current currencies don't move up and down like that. They have to stay stable in order for it to have value. So, yeah, I don't really look at it at this point as a currency. I look at it more as an investment, more like not even an investment. I look at it more as like a storage of value, like gold. That's what people saying. It's like digital gold is going to replace gold.
Gotcha.
Like how people look at gold, like, you know, it is an investment, but gold is like, you know, store value. Like you hoard gold because you know it'll have value and it'll go up over the course of time. So it's like Bitcoin could potentially be that, because it's very similar in a standpoint where it's a limited amount. Like, you know what I mean? It's a limited amount, and people are really hoarding it. They're not really like trading.
Correct.
They're not buying pizza with Bitcoin now. It makes no sense. It's going to go up so much.
Exactly.
You're just hoarding. Everybody's just hoarding their Bitcoin right now. So it's more so, I look at it more so like a gold. But yeah, the currency standpoint,
I feel like just not yet. Just ain't at that point yet.
Yeah. Or maybe another coin. I know Facebook was trying to come up with their coin, then they got stopped by the government. That would have been interesting. Because that was a stable coin, like meaning like the price doesn't fluctuate.
Really? Talk about that if you can a little bit, because I didn't really know too much about that.
Yeah, it was Libra was the name of it, and it was supposed to be a stable coin. Like I said, a stable coin. There's a few stable coins out now, like Tether, where it's like they just stay flat, and it was supposed to be used, like on Facebook's platform. But if you really think about it, Facebook has 1 billion users, probably even more than that when you add in, you know, all of the WhatsApp and Instagram, maybe like 2 billion users, right? So it's like you got 20% of the world's population using Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So now if they have their own currency, overnight they become the most dominant, country in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why they got stopped. The government stopped them because it's like, countries are controlled by currency, and that's one of the reasons why they really tried to crush Bitcoin. Because it's like countries control currencies, governments control currency. So if Facebook has a digital currency that 1 billion people are using every day.
Facebook, it's a country.
Yeah, they're going to surpass China as
the biggest country, right? With no passport needed, nothing like that, right? No government paperwork. Let's go back real quick to stocks. How do you feel about what's some stocks you think people should really be looking at right now?
I mean, I think the big boys, Apple, Microsoft.
And these are just long term, like no matter what, just hold them down.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if you look at Apple, Apple's gonna go up over time. Microsoft.
Think Tesla is gonna go up.
Tesla definitely is a more volatile stock. I think the future of Tesla is bright, but you just gotta. Tesla's type of stock, it might drop 40%, then it might shoot up 1,000%. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to ride that roller coaster.
Right.
But Tesla definitely is a.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, the industry itself is still new. As far as the whole electric car, even though Tesla does more than just electric cars, but it's still, the industry is still developing.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a volcano. I used to live in Hawaii and I learned about volcanoes. And it's like if you study nature, you can really learn a lot about just life in general. And it's like I learned that all those islands was formed from volcano. And it's like the volcano exploded and then the hot lava came and it hits the ocean. It turns into rock. Over the course of time, when it rains on the rock, now it turns into vegetation. Then when the rock hits it, then it turns into sand. But all that takes thousands of years, but it's very volatile at the beginning. And then when you see an island and you see it's just plush and green and breeze, but that started from a very volatile standpoint in order for it to get to calm.
Right.
I think and that's like just like in life in general, a lot of times, like even when a baby's being born, like that's a very volatile situation. A mother's giving birth and then like afterwards it's a calm situation. So beginning stages of companies, beginning stages of industries are volatile. It's a lot of things that happen. And then, you throw in Elon Musk, who probably is,
he's a wild boy.
He's
respect to him, but he's a wild boy.
Yeah, he's like the Kanye of
tech, right?
You know what I'm saying? So he's a different CEO, and you don't know what he's going to tweet and that. So it's a lot of different combinations that make Tesla a very volatile situation. But I think over the course of time, Tesla is definitely going to go up for sure. I think, I like a lot of the chip stocks, what we call chip stocks.
What's that?
So chip stocks are like the chips inside of computers that make computers work.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So it's like NVIDIA, AMD, things of that nature. So there's a ETF called SMH, which has a lot of like Taiwan Semiconductor. Like these are like lesser known companies, but have really good returns. So if you look at tech, like, I believe like you should invest in tech. But then it's like there's different subdivisions of tech. So there's like the chip companies, right? Like that's like a unique niche inside of tech. Cybersecurity.
It's a different.
So like Crown, Wall Street Trap, shout out to him. He always talks about that. That's one of his Crown Strike. That's so cybersecurity is gonna become bigger and bigger, right? Because it's like we live in our lives online. You gotta protect it.
Right.
So it's like it's like the old like gold analogy where it's like the people that really made money during the gold rush wasn't really people looking for gold, it was people selling picks and axes. So it's like we know that technology is going to drive this. So it's like you might want to look at different subsectors of technology like cybersecurity or chips or different things of that nature.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's how,
real.
I think that's where we're headed. Tech has taken off. And has been a leader in the stock market. And I think it's only going to stay that way. Of course, you got the Amazons of the world. They're not going anywhere. So Google, I feel like, all of those major players are going to stay. And then you might have a couple like, just get birthed in the next 10 years. But yeah.
It makes sense. So we got to find out which chips Elon planning on putting in our brains to go invest, right? This boy over there saying, well, school.
Pull out the vaccine and check what chip is in there, right?
Yeah, you know, like school. What school? We're just going to put this chip in your brain right now. You ain't got to go to no school, man.
That might happen.
Right? You want to learn how to fly this helicopter? Don't go to no school. They put this chip in your brain. But, Elon is crazy, and everything you just said is true, bro. I know one thing that I've personally wanted to ask you is, you know, and it's probably, you can't answer it in, you know, a couple sentences, but I would love to know, you know, your take. And it's someone's thoughts on, because if people been following you for a little while, like I have, they've seen how big and fast your social media has been able to grow. And in a part, that's business education as well too, because if you grow your social media, that is going to fall in line with, you know, business opportunities. You know what I'm saying? If somebody was watching you and they saw how fast, and you know, there's people out there, you could tell they buying followers, they buying the comments, they buy. None of that. There's none of that going on with this man right here. None of that. It's all organic. You know what I mean? And I follow him in a sense of like a student, of like seeing how he moves, listening to what he talks about, and even as far as like his social media, how he's been growing it from his your personal page to your podcast platform to your podcast IG page. Like, you know, I know it's a lot of information. That's not something that people can do overnight. I know you've been grinding, but if somebody right now is watching, they're like, yo, how can I build my page? What's some tips you can give? How can I build it themselves? Like, you know, how can they build their brand or company?
I think you gotta be consistent. That's the most underrated thing, I think, especially when it comes to social media. It's not.
Now, what's consistency to you as far as like?
I mean, well, so we got two pages: Earn Your Leisure's page, and then my page. I put more focus these days on Earn Your Leisure's page because that's the brand and that's moving at a really, you know, quick pace. So I post at least 3 times on Earn Your Leisure's page a day, and then anywhere from 2 to 3 times on my page a day. So like 5 posts a day, and then, you know, you might tweet something. So yeah, at least 5. Well, for us, if you got a regular page, I would say at least 3 posts. Instagram, at least 3 posts a day.
Yeah,
if you trying to build a brand.
My once a week ain't hitting. Huh?
Once a week, my man over here posts by once every season.
I posted 2019.
He got
I don't want nothing to remember.
So far for fall, he got another post coming up for the winter. You know.
Yeah.
So you saying 3? So and I ain't mean to cut you off. 3 posts a day. And obviously, so and this is something that Dion mentioned once a while back, and I felt like it was so true, right? Now you're saying 3 times a day. If you're watching this and you don't really have, and this is the word Dion used, if you're not purposeful with your social media, like I don't think Rashad is just saying if you're home and you just doing whatever, you taking 3 shots of your wall 3 times a day, you know what I'm saying? Or 3 like silly selfies a day. No, it's like 3 purposeful posts for an agenda, right? Like there's an end goal that you're trying to achieve, right? So, and I only cut you off. You go ahead and finish that. So 3 posts.
Yeah, 3 posts a day
per day.
And like you said, it just can't be random posts. So,
what's your purpose? So what are you doing? Where you going with it?
Yeah, creativity is another big thing. It's not easy. For people to come up with different ideas and, you know, kind of, you know, it's like artwork really, like you got to kind of shape the picture and put the caption on it and all of that stuff. So it's not as easy as people think it is. Social media is really like a job. And this is why they have, you know, it's a whole business of social media consultants right now to post for people that can't do it themselves. And that's not bad either. Like if you can't do it, instead of like beating your head against the wall, if you have an expert that can help you, then, you know, that might not be a bad thing. But I mean, for us, that Instagram was really the catalyst of this whole situation. We didn't pay for ads or anything like that. It was all done through word of mouth and through Instagram. That has really propelled us. So social media is definitely a very powerful tool. It is something that, you know, you can reach millions of people all over the world. And gives you an opportunity. So it's like from Instagram, then, you know, we have the podcast, and we have the YouTube, and we have our online university.
Right.
So it's so many different stuff, but all of it really came from just Instagram. And then that allows us to have people's attention and move them in different directions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it just seems like entrepreneurship, like you said, you learned a lot from your father. is there any fears that you have, and any concerns when it comes to creating something, executing something? Because you was like, I got this idea, I just put this together, and then we gonna be consistent on it. Is there anything that any fears you personally have when it comes to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I wouldn't say not really fears. It's more so just like, you might have apprehension or, just kind of.
Or you just like try stuff like, all right, let's
give
it a shot.
I just try it. I feel like, at the end of the day, the worst that can happen is that you fail, and that's not really that bad in the grand scheme of things. It's not like you're gonna die. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really look at it like there's too much pressure. Like I just look at it like, because it's like, for me, I wish I would have did this earlier. Honestly, like I wanted to do the Instagram thing for a while. I thought I could be like years ago. I wanted to write a book. I always thought that I could be like a Instagram public figure, and but I just never really got into it. Whether it was just self-doubt or just you think about how people might judge you or whatever, and then like I said, when I saw Val doing it, I'm like, you know what, like if she doing it, I'm gonna do it.
Give it a shit shot.
I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like at the end of the day, who cares? Like what people think or public opinion. It's like can't really worry about that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, yeah, I don't really have too much fear and stuff. It's just a matter of just doing it, just going out there and just trying to figure it out. And then if it works, great. If it doesn't work, there's usually a lesson of why it didn't work. Go back to the drawing board, tweak some things, and come back. Because I look at it, for me, like I never really had a real job, like other than like working in the camp. And when I graduated from college, I started off as an advisor, and that was a commission job. So that's like being an entrepreneur off the gate. It's like there's no office that you got to check in with. You just go outside and try to move products.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if you make it good, if you don't, you got to find something else to do. So I look at it like a lot of times people look at like entrepreneurs is risky. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but for me, I never had a job, so I would have a high level of anxiety if I had to work a job. It's like waking up and saying like that would really bother me. So it's like for this, like it's like people look at like it's a lot that comes with being an entrepreneur. You don't know how much you're gonna get paid. You don't know when you're gonna get paid. It's a lot, but I'm used to it. I've been doing that my whole life pretty much. So I don't really know any way else to live.
Right. And I asked you specifically that because multiple times when we talk to people that's transitioned to entrepreneurship, I let them know like there's a lot of people who look at this as the normal world, like, but then they can't transition to your world of just relying on a job. So
I think it's like whatever you get trained to do, that's what you're gonna think is the best way to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if I would have came into the workforce and started working, I probably would have that mindset, and I'd be like nervous about being an entrepreneur.
Right.
But being that I was blessed to do that out the gate, it's like I really can't imagine not waking up whenever I want.
Right.
I can't imagine, and it's like with that, I can't imagine having a set hour. Like I work whenever. Like, you know what I mean? If we in Miami, we got something to do, we gotta work. Like, you know what I'm saying?
How was being an entrepreneur so long? Like, what was the perception of it? Because I feel like we knew entrepreneurs, even though it was 8 years, 10 years. I just felt like it like really started to become exposed, or it's just like a thing now where everybody's trying something. It's a good thing, but
it's a
how was it like in your time? You've been an entrepreneur your whole time, and people just look at you as the crazy dude or the guy that just doesn't want a job.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just looked at it like just off. Like I always just wanted to just do my thing, and I think people just kind of just respected that, and I just always value my freedom. So even when it wasn't the most popular, trendy thing for me, I always looked at it like, it wasn't really about money. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just about like having like freedom to do stuff what I want to do. I look at it like if I could just make enough money to survive, I would rather do that than make $1 million and be a slave in the corporate world.
Yes, sir.
And have somebody like breathe down my neck. It's like your peace of mind is everything. Your quality of life is everything. I know
sir.
If I work hard enough, I'm gonna eventually get there. Eventually, like, you know what I'm saying. And that's how I always looked at it. I never looked at it like, all right, times is hard right now. I gotta get a job. Like, times is hard. I gotta figure it out.
Right.
That's it.
What's up?
That's
Yes,
it.
sir. No, that's real talk. And I think that's something that, most people, if they ever like, read any books on either entrepreneurship or, read any, documentaries or biographies on like people they look up to who became successful, it's always like a very, I would say, a common denominator with some of the things that you're explaining, where it's like, for you, it was, here's my options. I would rather do this because I don't want that. And that was the driving force. The reason why I want to be an entrepreneur is because I don't want to have a boss breathing down my throat, or I don't want to have a time clock that I got to punch in and all this stuff. So some folks, I hope when you hear that, you're understanding like, well, if you want to maybe get to a different situation in your life that is maybe outside of like the normal life that you understand, those are some of the thoughts that are going to come into your mind. You just heard from somebody what made his decisions, a little bit easier to make. It was what he wanted. Right? What was the end outcome? Some people only look at their decision making as, well, if I do this right now, it's going to pay my cell phone bill this Friday, so I'm just going to do this instead of looking, beyond. So I really enjoy it. I appreciate what you just said. So people can just have a different understanding, man, of what it takes to like get to where you at. Because I'm pretty sure, right? If somebody just got onto your page right now and they see 100,000 plus followers on your IG. 500,000, right, on your podcast page.
450.
Sorry. 450. Right, verified, all this stuff. They probably just come on and they say, oh, well, that's nice. They don't know like the stuff that you had to go through to make that happen, And I always like want to pinpoint that out because they may hear it all the time if they're listening to things like this. Not everybody does listen to stuff like this. We enjoy stuff like this, right? But it's just really important to point that out. If you want to get, I heard somebody say this. I forgot who the first person to tell me this was if you draw a circle. And you draw a dream, like what they call a dream circle. So you ask somebody, right, like, let's draw this circle, and inside the circle, put all the stuff you want in there. A mansion, cars, no debt. You want to give X amount of money to charity. You want to take care of your parents, your family. You don't want them to work. Put it all in that circle. Put it all in the circle. Everything you want in this circle is actually outside the circle. Like it's out. This is your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is actually out here. It's outside of the circle. And some people, it's like they will give up everything they want in that circle to stay comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And you're explaining how that wasn't it. You didn't want to necessarily. You had the mindset before you saw your homegirl Val saying, "Yo, damn, I gotta maybe get a little uncomfortable. I know I could do some of those things. She's inspiring me to do some of these things. Let me get uncomfortable." Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So it's real. It's real talk, man. I was going to ask you a couple more things, on the social media tip too, as far as like, because you said something. You said, like being creative, being creative on social media. If I remember correctly, I know one of the things that caught my eye, and I'm pretty sure many other people's eyes, to like how you were posting is you would take like scenarios from our culture or from sports and then tie in the business side to it. And I love that. Like still to this day, I look forward to those posts. You know what I'm saying? And would you say like those are like some of the elements of being creative to make people want to say, oh, that was, let me see who put that up. All right, let me follow you for that. Like, is that like, that's
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I did that. And, it was, I feel like I look at myself more as like a creative than even an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur by, just default. That's, that just has to happen. But I like the creative process. Yeah. I really enjoy that, So just thinking of like, how can we be different? Mm-hmm. And whether it's like doing that and then like, then like we started bringing guests on the podcast and like, people just bring random guests on the podcast and it's like, that's it. But like, how can we promote this? So I started like writing stories about the guests. Like, man turned $1,000 into $10 million, He's sleeping with his mom in a basement, and now he's on top of the world, and just like all these stories that was like, oh, this is amazing. Like the guy was in jail for 10 years, and now he's a millionaire, and like stuff like that. And I would write the articles and like put it on our page, and then like people would share it and all that, and that was a way to like build publicity for the podcast and stuff like that. And just trying to think outside the box, and just be creative, and feel like, all right, we doing this now. People starting to do it. Let's do something else. And you know what I'm saying, like when they start to do that, let's do something else.
Old school thinking too. Like let's leave them there. Let's go move on to the
for sure. So I think that's something that's big too for entrepreneurs, is that you got to be creative, and you can't be stagnant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because things always evolve. So it's like what worked 2 years ago might not work now. Like even with Instagram, like the app has changed. So it's like we first started putting out 60-second videos. Then IGTV, they start pushing that. So we start putting out long form of content in IGTV.
Right.
Now they pushing reels.
Yeah.
So now we do the reels. Like, you know what I'm
Push the
saying?
reels,
It's
right.
like if we would have just stayed with 60-second videos, it would have slowed our growth because they're not getting the same views on the algorithm.
Right, the algorithm's right. It's not
Then,
catching.
you know, then the reels are, or the IGTV is. So
Yeah.
you always got to just stay constant with what's going on out there, pop culture.
Right.
And not follow the trend, but stay aware of everything so you could be ahead of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember even, I think it was like last week, you posted something that had me dying, actually. I don't even think you meant it to be funny, but it was funny as hell to me. When you posted an article with the COVID, like they like got there's like a new variant of like COVID in the UK.
London. Yeah,
Yo, his comment was COVID reloaded. I don't think you posed the question like, you know, about it or the post, but yeah, I mean like creativity, you know, it was funny like COVID reloaded. But Clubhouse, another aspect of social media that you've been on. I can say even you utilizing the same principles like on that too. You know, one of the first rooms that I jumped on in Clubhouse, you happened to be on. You happened to be in it, and I was listening to it, and I'm just trying to understand. I kind of understand Clubhouse better now. You know what I mean? But talk about that. You know, what's your views on Clubhouse, on how how you use it? You know, what do you like about it? What's your benefits, and how somebody can use it if they want to, again, you know, build their platform.
Clubhouse is cool. I feel like it's just, I try not to be on there too much because it's very time consuming.
It is.
Like some people's on there like all day, like literally 48-hour marathon. I'm like, I don't know how y'all doing this.
Yeah, because you have to be.
Because you have to be active.
In a controlled environment too.
Yeah.
Like it can't be loud. It got to be quiet.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's a great networking tool. So how I like to go on is going, like I was on a discussion with Swiss Beats and Meek Mill, a few other great people as well, and
yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them for sure, and shout out to my man Wall Street Trapper who pulled me in there, and they had asked me about crypto. And Meek, I guess, was interested in crypto, so I got to speak. I spoke for like 5 minutes about crypto. He asked me a question, you know, so I was like, that's the first interaction that I had with him. Hopefully we'll have more, but that wouldn't have happened. That's the unique thing about Clubhouse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get to, not just celebrities, but it is a major part where it's like these people just having conversations and you just jumping in the conversation. Whether you actually participating or you just listening.
Right.
It's like you're not really going to have a chance to hear, you know what I'm saying, your favorite artist, celebrity, entrepreneur, whatever, like on the phone with 20 other people.
Right.
Just having a free flowing, it's like a group chat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a group conversation, a group call.
Like you get to be that fly on the wall.
Exactly. So it's an interesting thing, man, and I think that they really, they struck something that wasn't, nobody else was doing that. Like even with the Instagram, I thought Instagram a long time ago should have had multiple people to do lives instead of just one. Like I think they probably regret not doing that now. I don't know if they was able to do it with the technology or whatever, but they should.
But you could do live. You could do IG live with multiple people.
Can you?
Nah, I think one.
I think it's just only one person.
Like you can add one person.
Oh, okay. Well,
like
my bad. When I heard multiple in my mind, I heard more than one. Like in my mind.
Okay.
You mean like a group?
But I mean like a group.
Got you.
Have like 10 people.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's pretty much what Clubhouse is.
Right.
But if you think about it, it's like that's what Clubhouse is. It's like just a bunch of people, and there's no other social media platform that allows you. I think Twitter's coming out with something like that. But right now, there's nothing else like that.
I heard about that too.
So it's interesting. It's interesting. I think that it has a bright future. And, you know, these social media apps is always a little risky because the bigger companies usually come and like either take it over, like even Vine, right? Vine was hot, and then you know Instagram put out their video clips.
Shut it down.
And it was over. So it's the same thing with Snapchat. Snapchat was super hot. And then Instagram came out with stories. You haven't really heard too much about Snap.
Right.
So now we got to see with TikTok. TikTok, you know, Instagram put out their reels. So TikTok's still moving strong. We got to see. So it'll be interesting to see how Clubhouse, you know, because they're going to come, whether they'll come to purchase it or they'll come to, you know, kind of copy what they're doing. It'll be interesting to see if they can survive. But I feel it's a great networking tool.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's how I use it to build relationships with people, to go and, you know, drop some gems and to learn too. Honestly, I learned a lot of stuff on Clubhouse that, you know, I didn't know from different people that might be speaking. So I think, like all social media, they could be good and bad, because I see some negative things happening on Clubhouse
Like
too.
what?
Just like gossip conversations happening
There's
about
so
that.
many. I call them junk food rooms.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah. Like how to know if your man's cheating on you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all kinds of nonsense. And then, you see people like kind of fighting on Clubhouse, like through the phone. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Aired out. Yeah, people getting aired out.
Yeah, so
a lot of ghetto.
Exactly.
Ghetto craziness going on. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And people. Unfortunately, people's going to drive towards that. So those are going to be on the blog sites, like, this rapper just got into this beef on Clubhouse, and like putting the audio on YouTube, people listening to it on YouTube. So I don't want it to turn into high school lunchroom. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We just going on to see your favorite rapper beefing with this person, or you going on there to curse this person out.
Right.
But I guess it's good. It's good and bad with everything.
Whatever, that balance.
But right now, I think it does have an opportunity. And I would advise people that are using it to use it wisely. Just like anything. Instagram, whatever you're using, you can use it for nonsense or you can use it for something beneficial. So Clubhouse is definitely, popular right now. So that's how I use it. And I think, everybody should, look into using it in that capacity if you're interested in learning or growing your business, growing your brand. Right.
And it's so true, yeah, because there was a couple times too where I was scrolling and like hit the wrong button. It's like, I just pulled up on the wrong block. It's like I'm on the wrong now. Let me get out. Let me get off this street real quick. Cause this is ridiculous in here.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, and then if you're not aware, it's almost like scrolling up on Instagram aimlessly, right, and just watching a bunch of stuff, because it will take up a lot of your time. You just sit there and start listening to the garbage, right? And then you just start, your mind just start, going wandering in a useless direction. So facts.
So you don't want to jump out. You don't want to miss nothing. So you just fall asleep listening.
Now I perp, like when I first got on, I caught myself like listening to some of the stupidness. I'm like, nah, what am I doing? What is this, man? And then like now I really, like, I just scan, like I'll see, first of all, whoever I'm following, that's who will show like the rooms that they in. So I make sure I'm not following nobody stupid. Before it was like a little more free flowing. I think like now it's like they kind of like tamed it down to where really to like who you following, you'll see their rooms pop up. You can see more now, but it's just I just follow people. If I don't see nothing pertaining to something I'm gonna learn from, just giving y'all a heads up. Like I think if you want to use it productively, if I don't see no rooms that seem like I can learn something from it, or I can give value from experiences that I've had in some way, shape, or form in a productive or positive direction, I get off it. Like, you know what I mean? But, yeah, man.
A question for you, man. So now, as the success is growing, how do you prize yourself? What kind of things are you into, man?
Oh, he getting the money. I see he's getting to the money now.
I see y'all, boy. I see the 3 Range Rovers. Welcome to the Range Rover Club.
He getting to the money. Yeah, give it up. Yeah,
so how do you prize? Like, what do you work hard? How do you prize yourself?
Yeah, I mean, just even like coming out here, with our families. I threw my son a birthday party on a yacht.
Yes, sir.
So, that's something that, I never had a birthday party. I still haven't had a birthday party on a yacht. So that was, that's something, I like to do, like, just have different experiences for him. Mm-hmm. And, I just got a watch. That was something that I was waiting for. I wanted to, have like a milestone that I hit before I got that. So, that was like, dope. But, you got to treat yourself every now and then. You got to live. And like I said, just do it responsibly. So I like to travel, different experiences. That's really it. I don't really spend too much money. Most of the time, like if I'm gonna spend money, it's gonna be like on an experience like traveling, something like that, where I can actually like, live in that moment and really have memories.
They say you can't waste money when you're traveling.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a fact.
Sir. Creating those experiences. I'll probably say, man, leading us off into the new year, what's something that you're looking forward to in 2021, from I say a business or
do you think it'll be better than 2020?
Yeah, man, we hoping, we all praying and hoping that it is. But what's your financial outlook for 2021?
For me personally, or for like the country, or like?
Actually, I say let's for the people, like for the country.
God willing, I think things will improve. Of course, everybody is leery about this whole COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
So we got to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Especially if there's a new variant that the vaccine probably not even built for.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But hopefully, COVID will get it under control at some point this year, and the economy will start to open back up again at some point this year, which would definitely be beneficial and would help people. So I'm optimistic about 2021. I think that 2021 will be better than 2020.
Some people saying, damn. Now you can say this is your year. I don't see nobody owning 2021. They like, I don't know. 2020 was different.
Yeah, so now I'm optimistic, man. You know me, I'm always optimistic though, because I feel like, you always gotta stay positive.
Right.
You always gotta stay positive, and there's opportunities. I mean, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, there's opportunities in every crisis. So like 2020 was the bad year for a lot of people, but for some people it was the best year of their life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it really depends on which side of the coin you was on, if you was positioned to take advantage of it. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like one person can say one story, the other person can say a different story.
Completely opposite story, right?
They both true. It just depends on which side of the coin you fall on. So hopefully 2021 is better for everybody. I'm optimistic. I think the economy will, start to rebound, which will be helpful. But if not, you gotta be prepared for it too, right?
Right, exactly.
For that too. So
Facts.
we'll see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Expectation creates preparation. That's all they say.
Facts. Man, I appreciate your time, man. This was beyond, valuable for not only people watching, but even for myself. This was great. I'm definitely going to invite you back. The next time you're in Miami, we're going to do a part 2 or something like that, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. No, and if you, if you want to check out his podcast, it's called Earn Your Leisure. Right, it's on YouTube. It's on all the streaming platforms. We'll put, all the tags inside the YouTube page as well on the post. But much respect to you, man. Like,
real.
This was dope. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Shout out,
Rashad Bilal. Thank you very much, my man. Episode 8 is a wrap. Thank you very much. Check it out. Check out my man's page. Let's get it.